Modular Server Theater, featuring Max Glover and Grant Kelly.
So he's Grant.
And he's Max.
And we're here with the Modular Server, which is a pretty cool product. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the cool stuff you can do with it. We got 6 compute modules, dual Xeons in each. You can populate 1, you can populate 6, 3, 4, 5, any combination. We got 14 drives for your built-in storage. And we got Grant here because he's the expert. And hey, Grant, why don't you talk to us about the storage here?
Alrighty, so you have 14 drive bays that are 2.5-inch SAS SATA. And what we're actually going to show is Intel's new SSD product and how it can coexist in a hybrid scenario where we've got SATA and SAS drives. So I'm going to go ahead and take our drive carriages, and I'm going to populate the other drive bays. And if I can get it lined up in there, everything will be fine.
So these are the X25E.
Yes, these are the
drives,
enterprise class solid state drives. We're not playing around here.
No.
We're going to go big or stay at home. So I'm populating slots 2 through 4 with the 32 gig enterprise class SSD drives. And then I'm going to go ahead and proceed with slots 5 through 7 with let's see, some Seagate Savio SAS drives. What are they, 73 gig, Max?
Yeah, 73 gig, 10K RPM. You know, the traditional benchmark in enterprise-grade mechanical storage. So certainly a nice mix of drive technologies in the modular server.
Sure. 2.5-inch, so lower voltage consumption.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty. Let's move on to powering this puppy on, and then we'll go to the logical configuration of it.
Cool.
Alright.
Alright, so we've moved to an adjacent room, which happens to be Grant's office, and the modular server is running next door, but we're accessing it virtually through an internet browser because that's the usage model that most people end up engaging in with the modular server. So Grant set this thing up. It's pretty cool. I'll let you run through it, and why don't you give us an overview of how things are set up and what you got going on here.
Okay. So basically what I did was I just launched Internet Explorer and put in the IP address of the controller module on the modular server, and I've gone ahead and created a few things. I've got one storage pool. We'll jump right to the storage. I've got one storage pool here that is a single SSD drive. So you can see the flexibility of this. You're not stuck with one specific RAID level. You can do multiple different RAID levels. So I've created a storage pool that encompasses just a single SSD drive. And then within that, I've created one virtual drive that takes up the entire space. And then I've moved on to create a second storage pool that uses the 3 enterprise SLC SSD drives that we plugged in the previous segment. And then a third storage pool that uses those SAS drives. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go back to my second storage pool, and I'm going to create a virtual drive that I will assign to the operating system that's running within this first storage pool. We'll get there in just a second. So I'm going to go ahead and create a virtual drive. It's going to ask me what I want to name it. I'm going to go ahead and name it SSD VD as in virtual drive. And let's go ahead and choose RAID 5, and you can see that my maximum storage is then limited to the total available for a RAID 5 array. I'm going to tell it to go ahead and wipe the boot sector, and that just cleans the drives for me. And right here is where we choose which server module we actually want to assign it to, and then which drive we want it to be within that server module. So I'm going to tell it to assign this virtual drive to server 1, and that it should be drive 1. The other drive, the first drive that I mentioned, the first storage pool, has already been assigned as drive 0. We'll see that here in just a second. It went through the process and then just presents me with a dialog box that says, you're ready to go. Click OK. So go ahead and do the same process on the SAS drives. All right, so now essentially I have 3 virtual drives across 3 separate storage pools that equate to 3 separate sets of physical drives. Once I've done that, I actually already have a remote KVM session open to my server 1, but I'm going to close that down so we can see how we go through that process. Over here on the left, I'll choose servers, and then I highlight the server that I want, and you'll notice by this icon up on the top and then the dialog box that pops up that it's actually turned off right now. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and power that on, and it'll ask me if I'm sure, and yes, apply. And once that completes, I'm going to go ahead and click on Remote KVM and CD, which gives me the capabilities to redirect my CD-ROM drive or an ISO image to that server so that I can actually boot from it and install an operating system if I wanted to. At this point, I've already got the operating system installed. So I click OK, it runs a little Java app, and after 60 seconds maximum, it'll synchronize the video stream here. And we'll see the server begin to boot in just a moment. Now this particular server and virtual drive scenario, we've installed VMware ESXi, which VMware just recently made a free product, which is, it's their Hyper-V product. It's the streamlined 32 meg footprint, I believe, for virtualization. So we'll see this boot up here in a moment, and then I'll switch over to actually the VMware Infrastructure Management Client, which then we'll be able to see how we can utilize these virtual drives that we created just a moment ago.
Basically, you can slice and dice your storage any way you want to, based on different RAID levels, just different capacities, different performance metrics. And you can start tiering your storage. You can have mechanical drives, you can have high-speed SAS drives, you can have the highest performing solid-state drives in there depending on what type of data you're accessing, what type of usage you're requiring out of the server. It's very flexible that way.
Absolutely.
And,
right. Absolutely. So my server's actually booted up now, Max. I'm going to go ahead and go to the VMware Infrastructure Client and just put in the IP address that I've given it and the username and password. And it felt like I did not type that correctly, so I'll back up and try again. Before I get the "you didn't type that correctly" dialog box. And then running within that server, this is just what I've named it. And I've gone ahead and installed a virtual operating system within that as well. We're going to fire this on in just a minute, but what I'm going to do right now is go to the configuration of the ESX, go to the storage, and I'm going to add more storage to this operating system. And what I'm adding is the RAID arrays that I created in the previous step. So I'm going to choose the SAS drive or the SSD drive. I'm going to choose the SSD drive first, just to kind of maintain that order of drive 1, drive 0, drive 1, drive 2. So this is my SSD RAID array. So I highlight that, I click next, it tells me the hard drive is blank, and I'm going to give it a name here. I use a naming convention that just specifies which host it actually is and then which storage it is. It kind of comes from ESX, the full-blown version. And there we go.